Hello and welcome to another sparkling edition of A Splash of Paint, brought to you in association with the SAA. In today's colourful programme, we'll be taking a closer look at some of the simple ways to inspire your artistic passion and encouragement by trying something new. So switch on your creativity. It's time for 60 minutes of inspiration, encouragement and colour from some of your favourite artists. Let's get started and take a look at what's on today's palette. SAA professional artist Warren Sealey will be demonstrating how to paint a stunning oil portrait in today's Try Your Hand At project. And we'll be looking at how to make the most of a maul stick. Unlocking our archive door to discover how popular artist Hazel Soan believes that no painting is ever lost but simply unfinished. And we go out and about with Fraser Scarfe as he returns to present another one of his fascinating insights into the inspiration and techniques from some of his favourite artists and their best known masterpieces. But before all that, I'm going to give you a quick demonstration on how to add a windmill to the sunset scene I painted last time on the show. So this is what we did last time. It's all ready to go. It's all nice and dry, of course, as well. So a nice silhouette of a windmill just in this corner would be nice. Using a size 6 brush for this. Making a very dark colour, because it's a sunset, we need to try and keep the nice silhouette effect, if you like, on this one. So mixing up some burnt sienna, quite heavy, so a little bit of water in your palette. Mix it with some natural grey, quite thick, and it'll give you this nice dark silhouette colour. Now a windmill, of course, is very much a symmetrical object, so we'll start off by putting a bit of a line down the centre, and we'll get it as straight as we can. And that'll make the painting so much easier. Put the dome on the top, and then we'll do either side, making it wider at the base. And the main reason for the line down the centre, or the line of symmetry, is it makes it easier to match the two sides at this point. And it allows you to get the nice structure. Of course, the windmill's a round object, so what we'll do is we'll actually put a shadow as though it is going around the corner. So we'll come over with it, and you can see how dark it is, but that curve I've put there is what gives you the shape of the windmill. On the other side, I'll make it a little bit darker, make it a bit thicker as well, a touch wider, and then we'll change colours. We'll have a nice clean watered down burnt sienna, and we'll go in the centre and we'll scribble the colour together. So I'm basically going over the grey edge and almost dragging the grey down, and you can see how the burnt sienna starts to make it look as though it's brighter in that particular point, and it just helps it stand forward a touch. So the line in the centre we can scribble away, and it just shows how soft watercolour can be. It's very easy to reactivate watercolour, even at the point of it being almost dry. So we can see that's the basic shape of the windmill. Obviously we're going to put some detail on, so we'll come back to the dark and we'll pop a little bit of a roof on it, a bit of a dome shape, and we'll just make sure we're leaving a very thin line for the cap or for the roof. Put a few little bits of interest up there. And it's probably a good time to change brushes, go for something a bit finer. That was a size 6, I'm going to move to a size 2. A nice detail round brush. Possibly make the paint a bit thicker as well by adding a touch more natural grey. So if we do the sails, coming down, and of course the fine brush gives you the detail. And we'll pick it up on the other side. It doesn't actually come through too much on the other side, which is a bonus. We can get away with doing 3 on this. And then we'll bring the one down there, pick it up on this side, trying to get them straight through, get the nice crossover. And then putting the detail for the lats on the actual sails. So if we do some little flicks, and then just put a little bit of a connecting line. You can see I've not joined every line up. You don't need to. It doesn't always look right if you do that. It's better to paint your lines looser, almost flick the ends outwards. And they've not all got to be the same, but you can see it's starting to make sense there. And then of course the final one put the flicks on, add a touch of detail, and little bits of maybe nonsense, I guess, you know, like a bit of a doorway, windows, and even little bits just kind of working out to the side of the windmill. And then literally a finishing touch to this would be to come back to the size 6, use a pale watered down blue, this one's natural blue, and just put a bit of a shadow so the light's coming from this side, let's say, and I'm just adding a bit of a shadow there, just working through over the snowy area, and at the same time as doing that, a bit of a shadow coming from the base of the trees. And that's it, folks. I mean, you can see how simple that went in, but what a fantastic painting it's actually made. Now it's time for our regular feature where we ask popular artists about their favourite things. This week, experienced tutor and acrylic artist Fraser Scarfe reveals some of the many things that inspired him.
My favourite colour is Naples Yellow. It's a colour I've been using for a few years and I really like it for highlights especially. It's got a very lovely sort of custard look about it. When you mix it with white, it gives you a real nice sort of warm highlight colour, and I use that for things like picking out the edges of clouds or maybe for reflected light in buildings, things like that, and it's a colour I could not do without. My favourite art essential, I'd say, is definitely a big brush. I find if I'm starting a painting or working on a small sketch for a painting, I don't want to be messing around with tiny brushes. I've got no time for it, and anyone who knows me will know that I don't own any riggers or anything like that. I like to get as much paint on the surface of the canvas as I can, so I find that always having access to a big brush just keeps me loose and stops me getting too uptight when I'm painting. My favourite thing about painting and drawing is something about trying to capture an experience and put it down on canvas or paper. There's something about that struggle that makes it worthwhile and makes it rewarding, and it's nice to see something come out of the end of that struggle that's worthy. My favourite painting experience as a whole was working in Lincoln Cathedral, which is one of the country's most spectacular cathedrals, and I just found that working in such an impressive building really fueled my work, and it was an endless source of inspiration to me, and I loved working in the sort of quiet atmosphere of the cathedral, watching daily life happening in the cathedral around me. My favourite gallery is definitely the National Gallery in London. It's the home of art for me, and it's like my second home if I need to go and look at something to help me with a painting. The breadth of work in there, the breadth of masterpieces is unreal. We've got some great work in there from around the world. Some of the finest Turners, Constables, Titians, Rembrandts, you name it, it's there, and it's all under one roof, and it's free to go to, and you can go anytime you like, and to have that opportunity in Britain is absolutely fantastic. I don't have a particular type of music that I listen to exclusively when I'm painting. It tends to vary according to how the painting's going or what I'm working on in particular. Sometimes I like to listen to music that doesn't have lyrics as such, so classical music or jazz, because it kind of sits happily in the background without sort of engaging the part of your brain that listens to lyrics. But at the same time, if the painting's struggling or it needs a lift, I might listen to rock music or more contemporary music. It really varies according to how the painting's working.
And we'll be seeing more of Fraser later in today's programme, but for now it's time for a short break, so we'll see you soon, folks.